welcome to Salt. We are running without Aspen today, which is why I've got everything over here. And we would have been on earlier, but our wardrobe designer, I had shorts on earlier because it's 200 degrees here in Texas, but our costume manager said, no one wants to see those grandpa legs, put pants on.
Not what I said, that's just how he translated it. I said, now don't take this the wrong way.
What I heard was, cover those skinny legs up. No one wants to see that, so I put jeans on. But it is 200 degrees.
It's not literal. It's not even 100 degrees today. Oh, it did feel like 100. Yeah.
Boy, I don't know what's going on. We got a heat dome here. I mean, it's not just us. I guess it's everywhere. Hey, it's working. All right, I can put this away. At least I know we're broadcasting. But yeah, we've been going a few days now without Aspen. She's out in Washington State visiting Randy and Brittany and having a grand old wonderful time, I'm sure. They've seen a play. They went to a coffee shop, a record store, and
The Maple Counter
the
Cafe.
Maple Counter Cafe, which was an amazing restaurant out there. She went to the Walla Walla Church today. I didn't ask her about that. If she ran into anybody she knows, but
I'm guessing not. I asked her a little bit about it just a moment ago, but I think she's busy.
yeah. So, wish we could all gone out and seen Randy and Brittany. It's a long drive from here. So actually Aspen flew out, and I was finishing up a summer class anyway. I had a summer step class I was teaching, and our next week starts colloquium here at Southwestern. So it's the week before school starts, and we do all of our teacher meetings, and that actually started last night. They had a Vespers, and tonight they're having family fun at the Alley Cats bowling alley.
Oh, tonight's the family fun, and we're
Family
missing
fun.
that?
Bowling for everyone.
I'm just not a bowling person. I just don't call that family fun.
You know,
I mean,
I-
for me, I don't like to bowl.
I mean, I can do it. I enjoy it. It's fun. I mean, it's like something I would do, like when I was a youth pastor. We would have a youth night of bowling, and I could go, and it could be fun. It's not something like, oh, let's go bowling. But yeah, I was a little surprised they did I think they did it because they did it for the step kids for the summer program, and I think they got a good deal, and so they just got it double booked, and they got this, really good deal on renting the alleys, I guess. But anyway, so I imagine there are some of the faculty families bowling tonight at Alley Cats up in, I think it's Fort Worth or wherever it's at.
I'm just as glad we're not.
No,
I mean, we go, and I roll the ball and, hit some pins and stuff, but yeah.
I always had the exact same experience. My first game would be amazing. I mean, I could almost hit 200, and my next game I'd be whatever, something would happen, and I couldn't even get to 100. Every time. My first game was amazing. My second game was like I didn't know what I was doing at all. Just thought I'd share.
I mean, hey, you know what? I always thought the lower numbers were the good ones.
Yeah, that
but,
would be golf.
Mm.
Which then I do the high numbers when I play golf.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, but enough of this. So I don't know, Miranda, what are we talking about?
We're talking about little guy, or otherwise known as Fig. Aspen calls him Fig. This story, we're going to call him Fig instead of little guy.
Okay.
Yeah. And so when we came back in June from our trip to Omaha, little guy had been outside because we were waiting to get him neutered and vaccinated and stuff before we brought him in the house, like all of the time. So,
Yeah.
well, he was inside while we were home, but when we left on trips, he had to go out because he just wasn't going to get along with the other cat.
He couldn't stay indoors a long time. Like
Yeah.
before we had him neutered and stuff, he'd come in. Sometimes he'd spend the night. He was always at the door wanting out. He's always wanting out. Even if he spent the night, he wanted out the first thing in the morning. which was weird because he was an outdoor cat, but a lot of times, just whenever we would come back, he would hear the car or something. I don't know how he knew, but and he would run and he would be at the door.
Yeah, he was always, it didn't matter how long we were gone,
Yeah.
even sometimes 2 or 3 weeks. And as soon as we rolled into the driveway, he'd be right there.
He would
He'd
just
just come
appear.
running, yeah. And just everyday
Yeah.
life, you'd pull in from shopping or something, and
Yeah,
and he'd come running on over.
sometimes we were looking for him, couldn't find him. I would take the car and drive around, and every now and then I'd pull in, and then he'd show up. Like I didn't see him, but as soon as I pulled the car in, there he was.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, so anyways, but when we got back from our trip to Omaha in June, he didn't show up that night. And so, I was concerned. That was very unusual for him. And then the next day, we have an Apple AirTag on him.
Yeah.
So Brett went out a couple times looking for him, but he wasn't able to find him. But that night, we had to find him because he had an appointment to get neutered the next day and vaccinated. And so we needed him in overnight because he wasn't supposed to eat anything past a certain time. And so we went out looking for him, and the Apple AirTag said he was just across the street, basically.
Yeah, I could find him on the 5 phone. I could track him, and it was taking me closer and closer. And I was looking all over for him, and eventually I found him he's sitting on a chair outside. There's apartment complex across the street from us, and he was on a chair out on the front porch of one of them, just laying there.
Yeah, and I thought, oh, there's little Fig. And so I went on over to get him, and I reached out to pick him up. And I mean, honestly, this is the friendliest cat, and he loved to be picked up. We'd always pick him up, and so I thought, pick him up and carry him home. He jumped down off the chair as if to run away.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what was up with that, but I grabbed him and we took him home. But then Brett went ahead and went back just in case it was their cat.
Yeah.
And she told Brett.
Yeah, I mean, I went back and it was interesting. First of all, I think it was the grandmother came to the door who spoke hardly any English, and even we communicated for probably 5-6 minutes, and I was getting most of what she just by, gesturing and understanding what she was saying, and then I guess she got her daughter to come to the door and she explained it. Like, no, he just showed up and had kept showing up every now and then, and so they gave him water and he would come, and then they gave him food, and they just got used to, like, occasionally he would, whenever he showed up, he'd get there and meow, and they'd, oh, you're, I forget what they called him. They had a name for him too, but and they'd just bring food and water out for him, and he'd sit there and eat and drink, then sit in their chair and take a nap.
Yeah, and the interesting thing was that wasn't the only place that you had seen him at.
No, once when I was driving around looking for him, I got the tag on my phone, and I was getting close, and just as I was coming around the corner, the one apartment we found him where the Spanish family lived was like here, and then in the same apartment complex, like 3 units down on the corner, I saw somebody open the door because I thought, oh, he's here, and I looked, and there he was on somebody else's front porch, and they were just opening the door to let him in and feed him, and so he was getting, indoor food from another apartment right across the street from us.
Yes, and I mean, obviously we were feeding him and bringing him inside and such like that. And so that's at least 3 people, and who knows who else he may have, And so, it was really pretty smart to figure that out.
Yeah.
And so when we hear that story of little Fig, we say, wow, he's a pretty clever little cat.
It reminded me of the old movie Benji, because the opening of that, it's a story about a dog, if you don't know Benji. It's an old, I think it was the 70s. But that's how that whole movie opens up. He goes to these people who are just giving him treats and food at all these different places.
Maybe he watched the movie.
He saw, oh, a dog can do that. Certainly a cat can. But it was just like that. He had places like he would go, and these people all had different names for him, and they were giving him food, and
Yeah, so basically we got little Fig, and he's out there, No, manipulating not just one person, but several.
Yeah, with his cute meow.
Yes.
Look at me, I'm cute and I need help.
Yes. He was a little skinny.
Yeah,
He's fattening up now that we've brought him inside permanently
yeah,
and such. He's becoming a really good cat.
yeah, yeah. He is.
So it reminds me of the Bible verse Matthew 10:16 that says we're to be as wise as serpents and as innocent as doves. And that word wise is also translated to mean intelligent, prudent, and sensible. And so we generally consider the wisdom of a serpent to be an evil wisdom. But I like the comments from the Bible Study Bible on BibleHub.com that wisdom without innocence becomes manipulation. But it also says that innocence without wisdom becomes gullibility. And so generally, so we see this serpent in the Bible with an evil wisdom that manipulates Eve, for example. But well, what if we were to learn from that type, from that, and that type of wisdom, and use it but without the evil, and mix it with the innocence? Now I believe you would have someone like Joseph. Because, for example, when Joseph's brothers came to Egypt for food, he needed to know if they had changed, right? Because years before they had thought to kill him. And then they sold him, their very own brother, to be a slave in Egypt. And so he wanted to have a relationship with them, but he was also, so high up in the Egyptian government, he really needed to know what if they had changed or not. And so did Joseph manipulate the situation with his brothers when they came to get food? I mean, he did, right, in a way. And yet it was not with evil intent or selfishness at all. And I just thought that that verse caught my attention a couple weeks ago, and I thought to put it with the story of Fig for this week. I don't know, you read it, but you don't really stop to think about what it actually means, because they don't seem to go together at all. The wisdom of a snake with the innocence of a dove.
Where's your big finish?
I had no big finish.
Ah.
I had a bigger finish, but Aspen didn't give me her story, so I had to take it out.
So this is our preview for the story that Aspen was going to give us for this time. We're going to use another time. So you'll have to tune in for a good story from Aspen. It kind of goes along with this too.
It does, yes.
But I did say that again, the wisdom, innocence, innocent wisdom part.
Oh, that wisdom without innocence is manipulation, but innocence without wisdom becomes gullibility.
Yeah, and I just thought I like that. That was pretty profound. That if you use wisdom without, and you say innocence, but wisdom without love, you could almost say as well, wisdom without, mercy or kindness or love or innocence. It's manipulation. It's manipulating things for your own gain, for your own self, for your own. It's using people to get things. I think some people said, and then the other way would be, innocence without it's gullibility. You don't want to be gullible, but you can use things to help people, and I thought that was a good reminder of a way to live, everyday life, of just mixing whatever wisdom, smarts that we have together with kindness and love, that is a way to use our gifts and stuff, because we talked about gifts in Sabbath school today, to use our gifts to make the world a better place or somebody's day a little bit better, using
right.
wisdom with innocence. Yeah. All right, so there you go. Hope you've had a really good Sabbath, and wherever you're at, hope you're staying cool. And as we learn from Aspen being up her first day anyway, up there in Washington State, and then I think it's not all along the northern U.S. border, but certainly there and over in New York and Michigan. I think the um, smoke and stuff from the forest fires in Canada were making the air quality really bad. It was bad in Washington. I asked Aspen what it was like. She said, "Well, it's kind of like living inside a cigarette." Is her first day there because they had pretty bad air quality, but I think it's starting to clear up, hopefully. But
Yes, it is. Because the first day she was there, the air quality was at like 211.
yeah,
And today it's down to 90 something or other, which is a big change. I mean, you don't really want 90 something either, but it sure beats 211.
yeah, yeah. And if you were in Sabbath school today, ours was kind of interesting when they talking about spiritual gifts, and it kind of devolved into I don't know what you call it, a review on the, nominating committee process and choosing people to do things and how the church finds people to, do jobs in the church, or, you know, our lack of emphasizing spiritual gifts and helping people find them and use them. I thought that was interesting. Um, and apparently, we're going to be continuing the conversation in a potluck in a couple of weeks. I don't know what solutions we're going to have, but I did like one of uh, our our class members said some things like, well, we sit here and say this, but he said, and then I asked myself, what am I willing to do to make the change? What am I. And as a former pastor, I didn't say anything in Sabbath school. I should have. It's like, I like that because, people would come to us all the time. Oh, you should have a Pathfinder. You need to get Pathfinders. You need to, really? Okay. And what part are you going to play? What role are you willing to help us out? Well, I just think we need to do it. I'm like, well, okay. Thanks for your input. Um, but that's what it takes, like people to say, well, I can talk about this, but what am I willing to do to help out, to jump in and not just complain, but to help make a change. And that, I thought, was a decent illustration of wisdom and innocence. He saw it and it's like, I'm wise enough to see this, but I also need to be the person that helps make the change.
Or quit complaining.
Or quit complaining. Yeah, on the
Yes.
So, all right. Well, hope you had a good Sabbath and have a great week coming up, and we'll see you here